along with honorable mention of other cultural icons. Special appearance by top Bahamian artists, backed by the Spike Band. Theme, Paradise in the Islands. The Cultural Awards 2025, Saturday, October 25th at 8 p.m. at Lattice Theater, Paradise Island. Don't you miss it.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that's going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Shalia Roll.
And I'm Matthew Martinborough.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas tonight, coming your way next.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight at 11, a veteran broadcaster and politician laid to rest. Plus, students return home to escape Tropical Storm Melissa. And dozens of immigration officers graduate. The Bahamas tonight at 11 starts now.
The Bahamas tonight at 11. The final word starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hundreds gathered at Bahamas Faith Ministries today to bid a final farewell to Vaughn Miller, a man considered a voice of the people, steward of environmental rights, and one who put service above self. Here's Corval Pyfrom.
Remembered as a gentle giant, Vaughn Miller, a towering figure, stood well over 6 feet, 7 inches tall. His wife, Cassandra, and son, Vijay, led mourners this Friday as they said goodbye to the man they knew simply as husband and daddy. The state funeral for Vaughn Peterson Miller, different. It was on Carmichael Road, the City 2000. This in itself perhaps a history lesson for students on midterm break. State funerals occur outside of the Christchurch Cathedral. In the Diplomat Center, the Prime Minister, though, read a letter from the King.
I just wanted to write to you to say how very sorry I was to learn of the death of your esteemed colleague.
And then from his own heart.
As Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources, he carried the voice of our islands with dignity. He spoke not only for our generation, but for the generations yet to come.
Across the aisle, this tribute from the opposition leader, Michael Pintard.
He had a keen sense of economic and social justice. As a result of the work he did, he's left behind for all of us, and most especially for his son, for his family, a powerful legacy.
Eulogized by the head of the Christian Council and somebody who knew him well.
Type of God, that this amazing grace that our preacher, proclaimer, minister tapped into. It was grace that he was able to withstand the pain, being talked about, being ridiculed. I want to tell you, it's a hard thing to know people ain't on your run. It's a hard thing to be in a room and know people don't want to see you coming. But thanks be to God that God is in the keeping business. Thanks be to God that God is in the placing business.
Vaughn Miller, broadcaster, pastor, father, husband, patriot, was buried Friday at Lakeview Memorial Gardens. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
News from the courts. Reports reaching our newsroom reveal that a former Royal Bahamas Defense Force officer has pleaded guilty in a New York court for his role in a major cocaine trafficking scheme that allegedly involved several Bahamian law enforcement officers. Reports say that former Chief Petty Officer Darren Alexander Roker admitted to 1 count of cocaine importation conspiracy before U.S. District Judge Gregory Woods on Friday, becoming the first of 13 Bahamian defendants to plead guilty in the sweeping case. The The charges stem from a federal investigation alleging that traffickers moved tons of cocaine through the Bahamas into the United States since 2021 with the help of corrupt officials. Walker is among several Bahamians named in a federal indictment alleging they exploited their official positions to enable the flow of drugs into the United States. We will continue to follow this story. The island of Jamaica is on alert for Tropical Storm Melissa as it barrels through the Caribbean. As Bahamians in Jamaica brace for the storm, residents in the southeastern Bahamas are also monitoring the system. So too is our chief meteorologist, Basil Dean. Basil, is Melissa a threat to the Bahamas?
Good evening, LaDawn. We take a look at our satellite picture, and we can see Melissa has now become better organized, well to the south of Hispaniola and to the southeast of Jamaica. And it seems as though an eye wants to form, and that suggests that it's nearing hurricane intensity. And we expect Melissa to eventually move towards the west. That should take place tomorrow. Right now, it's just crawling towards the north at about 2 miles per hour. Maximum sustained wind have increased to 65 miles per hour. What does this all mean for us here in the Bahamas? Well, we can see there's an outer rain band near the southeast tip of Hispaniola with some very heavy showers and thunderstorms in it, and that would be lifting towards the north. You can see the first round of feeder bands is already affecting the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Nagua area, and that will continue to increase over the next several days as Melissa makes that lift towards the north, eventually towards the west. And then by Tuesday, we expect it to turn more towards the north and then towards the northeast as it crosses Jamaica sometime on Tuesday, and then it heads for the island of Cuba, which will move over Cuba sometime late on Tuesday, emerging into waters just to the northeast of Cuba in the Bahamas, and that is when we expect some intensification to take place. And Melissa could be a Category 1 hurricane as it enters the Bahamas on Wednesday. So we're asking residents in the central Bahamas to start preparing themselves for possible tropical storm force winds beginning on Tuesday in the area. And for the southeast Bahamas, they could get some hurricane force winds on Wednesday as Melissa continues to trek towards the north and east. And rainfall is going to be a major factor of this system, but eventually by Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, Melissa will start to make that exit over the waters of the Atlantic. But until then, we anticipate that heavy rains are going to be a major factor, very rough seas and strong gusty winds, particularly for the central and southeastern islands. For us here in the northwest Bahamas, the winds are going to be very fresh. We're looking at 20 to 25 knots today. Could be gusting up to 35 knots at time. And also, we will see an increase in showers over the northwest Bahamas as well. But the bulk of the heavy rains will reside in the southeast Bahamas with some moderate rain showers taking place in the central parts of the country where tropical storm force winds are likely. But hurricane force winds, as we said earlier, are anticipated in the southeast Bahamas. So prepare yourself accordingly.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Well, in the southeast Bahamas, Inagua's Island Administrator Gwenna Gibson says her team is tracking the storm.
We are in preparation mode. We're encouraging residents to stock up on the necessary food items and medications where needed. As it relates to the hurricane shelter, our shelter is currently secured. We are in preparation mode, just awaiting any updates from the GRM authority on the Met Office. If the need arises in terms of evacuation, we would be guided by the relevant authorities.
Island Administrator Kate Williamson says despite that island's persistent power and water challenges, residents are ready to ride out the storm.
I was in contact with GRM this morning and my director, and since then I've received updates from BPL that the generator is on the way, and they are doing some little infrastructure in preparation for the water restoration. And BPL came on the ground this morning. Once the generator comes to the island, I'm told that it will take about 2 to 5 hours to restore. So it don't seem as though we're not going to have any electricity until probably Sunday or Monday. But DRM is telling me that we would, get a further update by Monday as to the stats of the storm, but we're still watching the progression.
Okay.
But we have our evacuation list ready in the event. that must take place because of these essential services not on the island to scale.
76 Bahamian students studying in Jamaica have boarded a Bahamas Air evacuation flight en route to the Bahamas as Tropical Storm Melissa is expected to make a direct hit to that Caribbean nation over the weekend. Meteorologists warned that Melissa could intensify into a Category 5 storm and potentially be the most dangerous storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. ZNS News understands that the Bahamas Air evacuation flight to the Lyndon Pinling International Airport from Norman Manley Airport, Jamaica, will land at about 7:30 this evening. Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, will be at the airport to welcome those Bahamian students home. ZNS News also caught up with Consulate General for the Bahamas to Jamaica, Alveda Knight, for an update on the evacuation efforts.
At present, we have checked in 77 combination students and citizens on the evacuation flight sent by the government of the Bahamas to Kingston, Jamaica to collect said persons and return them to Nassau. Remaining on the island of Jamaica, a number of students and citizens who we are advising to adhere to the local Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management instructions and protocols, and to bunker down and to keep safe while the storm passes over.
Now, that flight has not touched down just yet at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport, but that's where we find our Lloyd Allen. Lloyd, what's happening?
Well, LaDawn, right now I'm here at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport, where we expect around 7:45. A number of those students will be arriving here from the Norman Manley Airport, and that's, of course, to avoid any serious impact from that tropical situation, Melissa, preparing to impact significantly across Jamaica. Now, standing here with me is Kimmy Jones. He is the Deputy Director General at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And Mr. Jones, of course, a busy day, of course, for your office. Tell us about organizing this initiative and how many students are arriving today.
Well, I mean, this is nothing strange to us. We know where the Bahamas is, we are pretty much in the hurricane belt. So the best we can do is prepare ourselves, put together strategic plans, bolster ourselves such that if these things happen, we have a strategy and a plan in place and persons who can assist us in executing on this. So one of our partners would have been Bahamas Air, of course, who, when the call came in, would have been providing tremendous support. I do want to thank them for being on the ball and on the point whenever we would have asked them to assist. So right now we are literally here waiting for at least about 70 plus persons to come back right now on the flight, the charter flight from Jamaica. And I want to be clear for all Bahamians and persons there in Jamaica that even though we would have indicated that this is an opportunity to evacuate, if there are any issues or there are any concerns, please reach out to the Honorary Council in Jamaica, Ms. Alveda Knight. The contact details are 1-876-631-6885. Again, I will repeat, 1-876-631-6885. Please feel free to reach out because, again, we understand that everyone may not be in a position where they can just pick up and evacuate and move on the spot. But again, that is part of the national responsibility of any country and any government. We are here to support, and we are doing our best to support everyone.
Well, of course, we know that this initiative will continue, and according to Mr. Jones, a number of those students remain on that island. Those numbers, again, were issued, and so should they need to reach out their families, they can utilize that number. And we know, of course, this is the second time that the Bahamas has done this in recent years. 2024, July, prior to the impact of Beryl, a number of students were also flown in from that country. We'll have more on this story in a later newscast. Reporting here from LPIA for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen. LaDawn?
Good story there, Lloyd. Well, ZNS News was able to speak to Lauren Ramsey, a sophomore studying biochemistry at the University of the West Indies, to talk about her decision to ride out the storm here at home.
At first, it was a tropical storm, and so when it was a tropical storm, I wasn't really alarmed because tropical storms, we've been through that before. But when they said that it was starting to turn into a Category 4 hurricane, I started to get a little anxious and scared, and so it was just like, what is the next step?
And still to come, Abaco finally gets its state-of-the-art hurricane shelter. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report.
It has the looks, the style, the performance. Your new car is everything you always dreamed of. Now it's here. Commonwealth Bank was happy to help put you behind the wheel with a new car loan at a competitive rate and fast, friendly approval. It's a service that just comes naturally to us, just like how love of tradition comes naturally to you. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Things may be tough, but Wendy's got you covered. Grab a day single or chicken sandwich with a junior fries and 16-ounce beverage for just $6.95. Why choose less from the other guys when you can get more? At Wendy's, we're providing bigger bites and better deals. So purchase your Tings Tough Value Meal today. Now available at all locations excluding the airport and food truck.
Our company offers a simple philosophy, open hands. What do open hands mean? If you keep your hands closed, nothing comes in, nothing goes out. If you keep your hands open, a lot of things comes in, a lot of things goes out. We cannot expect to be a successful company without blessing our community and blessing our country.
My good friend and valued client, Dominic Stirrup, approached me following a meeting we had and told me of the idea that he had of feeding 10,000 Bahamians on Thanksgiving.
There was a lot of details to put together, had to figure out how to get it done, but at the end, it was worth it. At the end, it gave me a heart of gratitude to know that our company is reaching out to so many persons.
We invite you on a journey to witness an extraordinary chapter in the story of the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, a tale of compassion, unity, and the true spirit of Thanksgiving.
You're looking at a shot of the exclusive Ocean Club at Paradise Island. That shot courtesy of drone pilot Kyson Miller. Thanks so much, Kyson. Well, after the devastation of 2019's Hurricane Dorian, a new hurricane shelter and community center was handed over to the residents of Abaco on Thursday. Diane Dorset reports.
The new 12,000 square foot multi-purpose facility sits more than 2 feet above sea level and is designed to withstand Category 5 hurricane conditions and serve as both an emergency shelter and a year-round community center. With Phase 1 of the project now complete, Phase 2 will include furnishings and other civil works. Minister of State with responsibility for disaster risk management, the Honorable Leon Lundy, says the new facility is one of the tangible results of the government's modernized disaster framework.
This shelter stands as one of the outcomes of that framework. Conceptualized after Dorian, shaped by the needs of Abaco, advanced through design and planning, and today handed over for stewardship by the people it is meant to protect. Where others see steel and concrete, we see policy made visible.
The project was funded with a $1 million donation from the Government of India under the India-United Nations Development Partnership Fund and implemented by the UNDP. UNDP resident representative Dr. Kishan Kure says they're proud to support the ongoing efforts to protect Bahamian communities most vulnerable to extreme weather events.
Combating the climate emergency and having resilient communities is really front and center of our mandate and our role here in the Bahamas. This is a perfect example of one of the most at-risk communities, vulnerable communities in the country, trying to build the resilience through these kind of facilities.
Although the facility is not yet fully complete, officials say contingency plans remain in place if a storm were to impact the island before final works are done. Aaron Sargent, Managing Director at DRM Authority, says residents will still have access to safe accommodations.
We have a number of other shelters that are already on our shelter listing. So in conjunction with the administrator, we take those into account as to where we activate. Just most recently, the Central Abaco Primary School, which is across the road, was activated to accommodate shelteries during the passage of Tropical Storm Imelda. And so, we have the capacity to be able to, through the shelters that are already on the shelter listing, to accommodate if the need arises.
Once fully operational, the Abaco Shelter and Community Center will be managed by local government. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
Thanks a lot, Diane. Well, Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, refuting claims that bodies from 2019's Hurricane Dorian are still stored in trailers at the Rand Memorial Hospital in Grand Bahama. It's a claim made earlier this week. Dr. Darville provided an insight on the issue.
I'd like to set the record straight. In Grand Bahama, there is one body that is in a trailer in Grand Bahama. The circumstances of why that body has not been buried has a lot to do with some factors that I don't want to get into. But other than that particular body, there is no other bodies as a direct result of Hurricane Dorian.
A new cohort of officers identified as Squad B joined the ranks as Border Protection agents. Lloyd Allen has more from the official passing out ceremony.
A sea of friends and family turning out to support 68 officers now a part of the Department of Immigration. The passing out ceremony taking place with the minister responsible, the Honorable Alfred Sayers, instructing those officers to protect and serve as they move forward.
Even in your office, every work permit, every permit to reside, every permanent residency application, every application for citizenship, before it comes to me, it must come to you.
Immigration Director Stephen LaRota also gave the officers in training their marching orders.
Assisting in border control, processing applications, supporting enforcement operations, or aiding in refugee matters. Every action you take matters.
Out of the 68 officers, Rufus Payne stood out as a rising star, nabbing the Instructors Award.
I demonstrated consistency, discipline, integrity throughout the course of the training, and today I was recognized for it, so it felt good to be recognized.
Friends, family, and supporters also elated about the pivotal moment in the officers' budding careers.
This is just so heartwarming for my sister. She started this. She had some ballast through it, but she made it through.
Congratulations, Rhea!
My fiance, I think she's doing something really important for the country.
It feels beautiful. It feels great to have a good support system.
Hope is my precious niece, and she made sure I came from Ken Island to be here with her.
With just under 1,000 officers and multiple ports of entry, the role of each member of the Department of Immigration remains critical as they serve as the first line of defense in protecting our borders and sovereignty. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd, but don't go anywhere. Sports is up next with Charles Fisher.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Folk Call Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
Like, what are you grabbing all these pizzas, plate?
Wait, Marcos, wait. You have a special on all the large one-topping pizzas, wait?
Pineapple.
All.
Barbecue.
All. Hey, VAT included, but
I need the $10 special plate.
How many of them would you like?
20 in it. Thank you so much, man. $10, that's it. The Marcos got that deal, boy.
Hey, this is Gino D, and it's all about the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture Cultural Awards 2025. Awardees are T-Connection and Bahamas, along with honorable mention of other cultural icons. Special appearance by top Bahamian artists, backed by the Spike Band. Theme, Paradise in the Islands. The Cultural Awards 2025, Saturday, October 25th at 8 p.m. at Lattice Theater, Paradise Island. Don't you miss it.
Everybody, and welcome to Sports Friday. Last night here at the Bankers Field, the Sunshine Auto Wildcats, they repeated as champions of the New Providence Softball Association. Oh, not again. A little rain before the game. Mother Nature really has held off. Didn't last long when coaches walking around to see if field is playable. Wildcats came out clawing, getting to the ball as elite pitcher Sari Albury with some hard knocks. Some trouble with the delivery. Pass ball and the runs pounding on. 8-4 Wildcats after 2. This where the inexperience and the jitters start to set in for the ballers. Routine bunt fielded, bounce throw over to third, now scooped up, and another run in. Ballers mounting somewhat of a comeback, fighting hard to extend this series. Don't count them out just yet. The ballers finally getting to the Wildcats pitcher, Taylor Stevens. Down the stretch, inexperience will be crucial. Pass ball allows a run to score. Then the overthrow back to the mound, and the winning run comes across. 14-4 the final score, and 6 straight for the Sunshine Auto Wildcats.
I have some young girls, energetic, and some who have never won a championship. So the bike was even more hungrier for the championship this year.
Most of the young girls came on the team, so, we had to groom straight through. The veterans, they decided they wanted to pull out, so that's what we did. So I had to go with the ones that I have. Thank goodness for Tila and Miss Davis. They helped me out a long way. I didn't really have a coach, but those my 2 captains helped me a long way. That goes out to them.
Wildcats are defending champions, and like I tell them, the champions, you have to knock them out. They're the champions. They're just like a boxing match. You can't keep it close. You got to knock the champion out. And hats off to Sonny, the sponsor, and Bullet, the manager of the team. And congrats to the Wildcats organization for another great season. There's a lot we can be thankful for. Obviously, we don't want to lose like that, but with youth, that kind of thing happens. We spoke to the young ladies before the game, and some of the things we had a feeling that may happen eventually did. But we have a great group of young players on the team, as young as 14. We have quite a number of them, and trust me, I guarantee you, we'll be back here again next year.
Wildcats giving credit to Ballers Elite for a great season.
I told their coaches, the first-year team, they're going to take some chafing, and they come back next year. I think it's going to be much more of a challenge with that team if they stay together.
Hats off to them, because they also have some youngsters too. All you have to do is keep them together, and then go further.
Do it again! We like it, we like it! Do it again! We like it, we like it! Do it again! We like it, we like it! Do it again! We like it, we like it! Do it again!
Gremlins wrapped up the men's championship earlier in the week, a series sweep of the Renegades. Catcher, Garfield G. Bethel.
Hats off to the young guys, They did an excellent job at competing. They somewhat put up a fight, I appreciate the drive and, not giving up. They fought till the end, so it was good to challenge our team and see, basically what we made of.
Were you satisfied with the 4-3?
Yeah, again, hats off to the young guys. I expect nothing less from my team other than to come out on top. Again, we didn't play our best, but, it was enough to complete the job.
On the heels of the Bahamas hosting the Caribbean Volleyball Championships earlier this year, the Bahamas Volleyball Federation and its president, Kurtwood Green, with another tournament on the horizon.
Since CVC Caribbean Volleyball Championships, there's another tournament based on the Final Four. It's called the Final Four, which means it's the top 4 volleyball teams who participated in the ranking get an opportunity to compete again next year. And they are looking for the Bahamas to host. We would like to host, but of course that will have to be in conjunction with us, with various sponsors and the government support and that sort of thing as well.
And that's it for sports on this Friday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Congratulations to the Sunshine on the Wildcats, and also congratulations to the Ballers Elite on a well-seasoned, a pretty young team.
Honey barbecue, sweet and spicy, all new.
Signature,
what's your flavor? Roasted garlic parmesan, tastes so good, chicken. those pepper wings.
Now available at Popeyes in Nassau.
Time now for a check on tonight's weather forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean with the latest temperatures. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, LaDawn. Your first look at the tropics is brought to you by the Disaster Risk Management Authority, and we are monitoring Tropical Storm Melissa, which has intensified over the last 3 hours. It's now packing winds of 65 miles per hour, still crawling towards the north at 2 miles per hour, and we expect it to shift more towards the west tomorrow. Also, continuing that intensification process, we anticipate that it will become a hurricane as early as tomorrow as it moves towards the west, and then eventually making that turn towards the north and northeast on Tuesday, and that is when we anticipate that it will move either very close or over Jamaica on Tuesday before heading towards Cuba and eventually finding its way into the Bahamian waters on Wednesday afternoon early, and that will probably be still a hurricane, maybe a Category 1 hurricane as it moves into the southeastern parts of the country. So we're asking residents in the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands to continue making preparation for the arrival of Melissa, which will probably be a hurricane by the middle of next week. Satellite pictures are showing well-defined Tropical Storm Melissa, as we said, continues to intensify and becoming better organized with a very, very huge feeder band currently affecting the southeastern coast of Hispaniola, and once again heavy flooding is anticipated over Hispaniola over the next several days, and some of that flooding will also occur in Jamaica over the weekend. So a very, very intense days shaping up for both Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic as Melissa continues that trek towards the north, and as we said, will eventually move west before turning north and then northeast across Cuba and into the waters of the Bahamas by Wednesday of next week. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy, windy, warm, with a couple of showers in the mix with your low temperature around 78 degrees. And tomorrow, we're looking at mostly sunny and breezy again with a couple more passing showers. High temperature getting up to 87 degrees, and the extended weather forecast looking like this. Passing showers tomorrow, Sunday, pretty nice. Lots of sunshine in the forecast, but the windy conditions will continue right into the early part of next week. But Monday, we'll see more cloud cover with showers becoming more scattered, and that will continue right into Wednesday. And thereafter, we anticipate that Melissa will start making its exit around Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. LaDawn.
Well, that does it for the Bahamas Night at 11. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great evening, everyone.
At the 66 Steps, I'm Matea Cunningham. This is ZNS.
You soy chicken fingers and tofu rib tips taste like the real thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, they should, because, I know my brother ain't really down with that kind of stuff, so I really slipped you a little pork.